Modern life is engineered for comfort, yet we have never been more fragile, anxious, or lost. In this documentary, we explore the ancient Stoic principles of Marcus Aurelius to deconstruct the endurance paradox, the unsettling truth that comfort is a slow poison to your ambition. Discover why intentionally choosing discomfort is the only path to true strength, resilience, and mastery in a world obsessed with safety. This is how you build an unbreakable spirit. Why is it that, in a world where we have eliminated nearly every physical threat to our survival, we are more terrified than the ancestors who faced them daily? We are surrounded by convenience, yet crippled by anxiety. If safety is what we desire, why does our modern security feel so much like a prison? Is the discomfort we flee the very thing keeping our humanity alive? I am James, and this is Shadow Philosophy. We are living through one of the greatest experiments in human history. Never have human beings enjoyed so much comfort, convenience, and instant gratification. With a few taps, food arrives at our door, entertainment fills every spare moment, and technology removes countless obstacles from daily life. We are taught that the ideal existence is one with less effort, less struggle, and less discomfort. Yet as our lives become easier, many people feel more anxious, less resilient, and increasingly disconnected from a sense of purpose. Nearly 2,000 years ago, the Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius understood something that modern society often forgets. He believed that hardship was not an enemy to be defeated, but a teacher to be embraced. Challenges build character, obstacles develop strength, adversity reveals who we truly are. The qualities that define great individuals, discipline, courage, patience, and resilience, are rarely forged in comfort. They are forged in resistance. In this video, we will explore the hidden costs of our addiction to comfort and examine why Marcus Aurelius' wisdom may be more relevant today than ever before. If struggle is the price of growth, then what happens when an entire society begins to avoid it? The psychological architecture of fragility. A fundamental tension between our desire for security and our capacity for growth has always defined the human condition. For thousands of years, this tension served us well. It kept us vigilant, demanded that we sharpen our skills, and pushed us to build structures that could withstand the inevitable cycles of famine and war. Yet in the blink of a geological eye, we have managed to create an environment where the most primal demands of survival have been effectively automated. We have moved from a life where discomfort was a constant companion to a life where any form of frustration is viewed as a systemic failure. This is not progress in the sense of human evolution. It is a fundamental decoupling of the organism from the reality of its existence. When we remove the friction of existence, we do not eliminate the capacity for suffering. Instead, we merely relocate it. We have optimized our environment to ensure that we are never hungry, never cold, and never exposed to the raw edges of the world. But the mind does not recognize this comfort as absolute good. The mind is a system designed to solve problems, and when we remove all external problems, the mind turns inward. It begins to manufacture threats out of thin air. We become obsessed with minor inconveniences. We fret over the tone of an email, the delay of a delivery, or the perceived judgment of an acquaintance. These are not signs of a weak character, but rather the logical outcome of a system starved of meaningful resistance. We have become fragile because we have forgotten how to handle the weight of reality. This fragility is the silent rot at the center of modern life. We think we are protecting ourselves by insulating our existence from challenge, but we are ensuring that the slightest tremor will shatter us. The person who lives a life of total ease is not strong. They are merely untested, and the moment their bubble is popped, they are left without the psychological tools to rebuild. They lack the resilience to process disappointment because they have never been forced to develop it. They lack the emotional regulation to deal with loss because they have never been allowed to experience the necessity of grief. We are essentially living in a state of psychological infancy, trapped in adult bodies by an environment that refuses to let us grow up. The paradox here is absolute. The more we do to protect ourselves from suffering, the more vulnerable we become to it. The Stoic tradition and the decay of purpose. Throughout history, thinkers have recognized that comfort is not the ultimate end of a human life. The Stoics in particular viewed the pursuit of comfort as a direct path to the degradation of the soul. Marcus Aurelius and Seneca did not live in a world of ease, but even in their time, they saw how their own luxury softened the wealthy and the powerful. They understood that the true test of a human being is how they respond to the inevitable setbacks of life. If we can only act when conditions are perfect, then we are not truly in control of our own lives. We are merely agents of our circumstances. To be truly free is to find purpose and meaning in adversity. The cult of comfort has convinced us that adversity is something to be avoided at all costs. We are encouraged to curate our lives so that we only interact with things that confirm our biases and support our preferred reality. This has led to a narrowing of the human spirit. We no longer engage with the world as it is, but rather as we want it to be. This is a form of self-imposed blindness. When we refuse to engage with the uncomfortable realities of existence, the necessity of death, the inevitability of change, and the presence of conflict, we become incapable of making wise decisions. We trade our wisdom for temporary relief. We choose the soothing lie over the harsh truth because it's more comfortable. But this comfort is a debt that must eventually be paid. The decay of purpose is the inevitable result of this trade. A life without struggle is a life without depth. We find our meaning through the obstacles we overcome and the commitments we keep when they become difficult. If everything is given to us, we have no skin in the game. We lose the sense of agency that comes from actively shaping our own destiny. We become passive observers of our own lives, waiting for the next hit of convenience to distract us from the emptiness of our existence. This is not a life well lived. It is a life merely endured. We are meant for more than the pursuit of ease. We are meant for the struggle that refines our character and clarifies our values. The deeper paradox is this: the more we strive for a life without challenge, the less meaningful our existence becomes. The practice of voluntary discomfort. So how do we break the hold of the cult of comfort? We must begin by recognizing that we do not need to wait for a catastrophe to force us into a state of growth. We can introduce voluntary discomfort into our lives to reclaim our internal authority. This is not about self-flagellation. It is about understanding that we can survive and even thrive in conditions that are far from ideal. When we choose to engage in difficult tasks, endure physical challenges, or abstain from the constant barrage of digital distractions, we are asserting our freedom from the environment. We are proving to ourselves that our capacity for resilience is not dependent on the whims of our surroundings. This practice requires a shift in perspective. We must learn to view challenges not as an interruption to our peace, but as a fundamental requirement of our development. When we face hostility at work or in our personal lives, we should not react with immediate defensiveness or a desire to escape. We should see the situation as a laboratory for exercising our will. We can ask ourselves how we might act with integrity and clarity even when the pressure is intense. When we face tasks that seem overwhelming, we should not look for ways to outsource the work. We should engage with the difficulty and trust that the process of struggle will teach us what we need to know. The goal of this practice is the development of an unbreakable spirit. This is a spirit that does not depend on the world functioning in a certain way. It is a spirit that is comfortable with the uncomfortable because it has tested itself and found its own center. This is not to say that we should become indifferent to our surroundings or that we should stop seeking to improve our circumstances. It is simple to say that we should stop making our inner peace conditional on external factors. We want to be the architects of our own character rather than the products of our comfort. Modern society is designed to keep us soft and complacent. Every convenience we accept is a small piece of our agency that we surrender to the system. To reclaim our lives, we must be willing to endure the friction that the system tries so hard to eliminate. We must return to the understanding that struggle is not the enemy, but the teacher. The final paradox remains: the only way to become truly secure is to stop making security our primary goal. We began by asking why a life filled with comfort can so often leave us feeling weak, anxious, and unfulfilled. The answer is that comfort and growth are not the same thing. Every generation before us understood that resilience is earned through struggle, not gifted through convenience. Challenges test our character, adversity sharpens our judgment, and hardship reveals strengths we never knew we possessed. Yet modern society encourages us to avoid discomfort whenever possible, leading us to believe that the easiest path is the best. The qualities we admire most in ourselves and others, discipline, courage, patience, and perseverance, are born from resistance, not ease. The Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius understood this truth well. He recognized that obstacles are not interruptions to life, but an essential part of it. The struggles we face are often the very experiences that shape us into stronger and wiser individuals. Comfort may soothe us, but it cannot build us. Growth demands effort, meaning requires sacrifice, and resilience is forged in moments when we choose to move forward despite difficulty. You were not built for a life of endless comfort. You were built to adapt, endure, and overcome. I am James, and this is Shadow Philosophy. Walk through the fire, not away from it.